now we're going to do some final 9/11 news. Leanne McAdoo filed this report today. She learned, one, that the first responders were not going to be let into the 9/11 ceremonies. They're being kicked out again. And that, I guess you could say, the baton has been tossed from this 9/11 group to a Bloomberg group who is now in charge of the ceremonies, is in charge of the funds and where they go and what happens to them. And she's going to talk about some news that happened back in 2001 that may surprise you about September 11th. Let me go to that report now.
I'm Leanne McAdoo reporting for Infowars.com, standing right off of Broadway here in Times Square, New York City. This is the epicenter of the terror threat that was posed by ISIS, according to their online jihadi recruitment magazine. Now, we were shocked to find out this morning that Mayor Bill de Blasio does not even have the security clearance to access the classified information that would be necessary to protect this city from a potential terror attack. Now, the New York Post reports that potentially he didn't want them doing a little bit of digging into his visit to communist Cuba years ago or his ties to the Marxist Sandinista party. So here we have a mayor that can't even protect his city because he doesn't want them to do a little bit of digging into his background to go ahead and get that security clearance. Now, former Mayor Michael Bloomberg does have security clearance. He is able to access classified information, and he's also able to continue to access the funds that are meant for the victims and the families of the September 11th terror attacks. Now, Mayor Bloomberg has always been in charge of the September 11th ceremonies for the last 13 years, ever since those towers were toppled so long ago. Well, before he left office, he passed that honor over to the National September 11th Memorial Museum and World Trade Center Foundation, of which he is the foundation's chairman. That means he is in control of all of those funds that funnel in when people visit the museum. Everyone that has to pay $25 to visit that museum, all the memorabilia that they buy, even the family members have to pay $25 when they go and visit the museum. That's like asking a parent to pay money to access their child's grave. Now, why is this so offensive and frightening? Well, we know that Bloomberg is the ultimate nanny, and he has his pet project agenda, like taking away your Second Amendment right. It's not just banning the size of sodas you can drink. He wants to take away Americans, and definitely New Yorkers' Second Amendment right. Now, why is this frightening? According to this article that was originally posted by the Washington Times in 2001, the September 11th Fund United Way giving donations to leftist causes. One of the largest relief funds that was set up to help the victims of the September 11th attacks has awarded grants totaling more than $1 million to a variety of left-wing political groups that are devoted to causes like hate crime legislation, expanded welfare, gun control, and nationalized health care. But critics are saying that many of the groups that are receiving charitable contributions from this fund have little or nothing to do with helping victims of the attacks. And records show that contributions are used to pay for things including ethnic media, office equipment, and massage therapy. And a top official with the National Legal and Policy Center called it a shame that so much money was being dispersed to groups with a clear political or ideological agenda. Now, this was reported November 20th, 2001, so just a couple of months following the September 11th attacks. Just a couple of months, they were already funneling that money out of the funds that were supposed to go to the victims and families and the first responders there following the September 11th terror attacks into their leftist ideological political groups, political causes. And that is exactly what former Mayor Bloomberg could do with the funds that are supposed to go to the victims' families. So once again, the victims' families are going to be screwed over in order to take your Second Amendment right. If United Way could do it, Bloomberg could too. For Infowars.com, I'm Leanne McAdoo.
So the report they were showing on their phone, I'm sure you couldn't read that, but I have it right here. And this is from November 20th, 2001, September 11th Fund United Way giving donations to leftist causes. One of the largest relief funds set up to help the victims of the September 11th attacks has been awarded grants totaling more than $1 million to a variety of left-wing political groups devoted to causes like hate crime legislation, expanded welfare, gun control, and nationalized health care. And that's our old friend Mark Morano reporting that from CNS News. Infowars.com. But critics say many of the groups receiving charitable contributions from the fund have little or nothing to do with helping the victims of the attacks. And records show contributions are used to pay for things including ethnic media, office equipment, and massage therapy. So that's what happens with all the money that you were given to the victims' families. It wasn't really going to them. It was moving around to other locations. That's what happens when you get all this money and there's not much to show for it. Very interesting times. We're going to have them tomorrow live with Alex Jones during the show, and possibly again during a expanded fourth hour that we're going to be doing live in this studio tomorrow. A big September 11th special. I don't want to say spectacular because there's nothing spectacular about September 11th. I still remember the day that it happened. I woke up late, going in late for work because I was up late, really late the night before, and my mother was calling me saying, turn on the TV, turn on the TV. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like the rest of you going, oh my goodness. One person who did have the answer and who was predicting it months before was Alex Jones, who was demonized for coming out and saying that it was an inside job. But it turns out the evidence is there that he was right. That's our show for tonight. Please remember, if you like what you're watching here, become a member of PrisonPlanet.tv. It helps what we're doing, helps send reporters out in the field, helps pay for studios like this, and keep us going and help push that alternative narrative, that real news narrative, not the fake corporate news, but news that's not been bought off by a giant corporate media or the government. And with that, that's our show. We'll see you again tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central.
You are watching the InfoWars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. Members can share their passcodes with up to 11 other people, and your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.